What's up, people? Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. Well, you can see clearly, I am definitely feeling much better today. Yes, it's still, in the mind, the loss that we had away at Juventus. And I don't know if you guys checked it out. I did a mini rant kind of a video. I don't usually do that, but I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but definitely, that had to come out of me. So the mini rant video, the link is down below in case you want to check it out. That's just a basic match reaction that I did right after the game, right? So I hope you enjoyed that. But having said that, anyone who's watching this video, please smash the like button again because we are going to discuss a lot of things in this video that you'll certainly like as well. And if you like the video, why don't you even press three more buttons? Yes, just three more buttons. That's maybe share, subscribe, as well as bell. Because yes, notifications will only prompt you to watch our videos because we are coming up with a lot more live streams, lot more content, and the international break coming up. There will be some trivia as well that you love. I'm pretty sure on that. But yes, I thought the Juventus Chelsea game is over. It's a loss. What is the use, to speak much about it? But no, I really wanted a neutral perspective and more importantly, an Italian fan perspective, someone who's seen Juventus week in, week out, right? And that's where I had to bring in back Fateh. Fateh, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, brother. How are you?
Hi, man, Ankit. A bad time to get you, but always happy to be on your show.
Absolutely. As in love your inputs always. And as you can see behind Fateh, he's a huge Inter Milan fan, right? As in God knows from when. But definitely, looking forward to it, Fateh. And again, glad to have you on. But Fateh, I have to tell you, Inter Milan, you would say in a way are lucky that Sheriff, beat Real Madrid. That was basically the fixture, the result of the match day, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much politics to Sheriff. A nation that's not recognized by every other European nation but Russia, and for them to go to the most successful stadium, the first match real play at the Santiago Bernabeu in their tournament. They've won this 13 times, and to actually beat them. I mean, it's David versus Goliath, something that you love to see in football. I mean, these are the kind of results that you want to see. And as an Inter fan, I'm very scared now of Sheriff.
Yes, as in again putting it out there because it is in the same group after all. So right
Yeah.
now, what do you think? Is Inter good to qualify with Real Madrid going out or the other way around?
Now, I don't see how Real can go out, but remember last year they played against Shakhtar and they lost both the games 3-2. So they're going to be playing
Absolutely.
Shakhtar Donetsk next, and anything can happen. I think it's the Champions League. We've already seen, the champions have lost. I don't want to rub it in, but I mean, anything can happen if the champions also are losing. So I'm scared for Inter. I think a new coach, a lot of new players, a lot of changes. Still, we've got so many holes in our defense. That was not a good performance. So I'm really worried.
Well, people watching, comment below. What do you think of Sheriff? Was that a one-off? Certainly not in my opinion. But what do you think? Like, will Inter qualify? I know Champions League is something that they've not done well in the recent past. So I don't know. That's something that you'll have to comment and let me know. But talking about the loss that we had, Fateh just mentioned that again. I don't want to rub it into myself as well, but we haven't won in Italy, Fateh, for 18 years. As in, that's a crazy stat. As in, that's absolutely crazy, right? As in Champions League, we haven't won the group stage for 18 years. That's as in again, we hadn't won against Juve away, but I think in Italy itself. So that is something that tells us that something needs to change. But certainly, a lot more happened this match day. So what do you think? We should get into it.
Absolutely. And you said 18 years. So that means the last time you won was against Lazio 4-0. Is that the game that
Probably,
you won in the group
probably
stages?
again, like
2003
people
4.
in the comment section can basically who knows, again, it's a trivia question, but certainly it's a crazy stat for me. And then I went bonkers for sure, like the way that that has happened. And again, that match itself showed, and we'll discuss a lot more, but let's look into what exactly happened on the match day, right?
Yeah.
A lot of action, but certainly like Almighty Blues FC. So we have to speak about Chelsea first, and it is a Chelsea game that we have been speaking about briefly till now. And of course, you saw it in my reaction. But let me actually share my screen because the starting 11 is something that I would like to go in detail because I just briefly touched upon my reaction video. But certainly, for me, just my point of view again, as I mentioned earlier, Alonso was a surprise, a big surprise for me starting at the left wing back position, considering his performance at the weekend. And, apart from that, obviously, Silva, who wasn't 100% fit, is what Tuchel said in the last press conference before the match. So, that was another surprise. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek not starting. Like, these were the three surprises for me. Again, people in the comments who did not watch the rant video, please tell me about the starting 11. What do you think? But, let me actually also share what Juventus started with because that was interesting for me, Fateh. So they started on paper a 4-4-2, you can say, with Bernardeschi and Chiesa playing, the false nine, both. But Fateh, has Bernardeschi really played the false nine much in Serie A?
Um, I've seen him there, used there a couple of times for Fiorentina. This was obviously a lineup, because they didn't have Morata, they didn't have Dybala. He could have started Moise Kean as the striker, but Allegri so far has not been impressed with Moise Kean. I mean, he's only been a substitute. So this was a surprise to all of us to see Bernardeschi in that role. But after that summer where Mancini was using the false nine, it's something that a lot of Italian teams are now looking into. And you trust a tactical genius like Allegri to sort of pull something out of the hat like that. And
Yeah.
with regards Alonso, you said Alonso had such a good career with Fiorentina in Italy. So maybe that is why Tuchel started him, because all that experience that he has of Serie A. Perhaps that's what I think made Tuchel start
Maybe,
Alonso.
maybe. But I tweeted it out the moment the team sheet was out. Like I
Yeah,
tweeted like Alonso was in Fiorentina. Everyone knows about it, but it's a while back. And again, I think he has evolved with Chelsea much more, and the way we play is much different, I would say. But talking about again the Chelsea 11, right? I don't know. Again, just throwing out a stat. Like from what I believe, I think after 1991, this is the first time that Chelsea named 11 where no player was connected to England, right? As a not British
yeah,
connection. Like that is a huge stat in itself. Again, like I don't know if it's against people who kind of want the English people, the young Chelsea youngsters, right, just to play. But for me, certainly there was something missing in that 11. And talk about again Juventus 11, like you briefly mentioned, Fateh. For me, it kind of worked as a blessing because if say Dybala and Morata were fit, I'm sure Allegri wouldn't have played this way, right? As in that's something probably which worked for
absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if you look at the statistics, they had 27% of the ball. So, Chelsea pretty much dominated the game possession wise. Juventus sat back. And with Dybala and Morata, you would have expected them, and especially being the home team, to probably be the protagonists. But, yesterday they were very happy to sit back.
Yeah.
And so I think those injuries have sort of helped them because, there was no pressure on them. It was a young team. Nobody expected Juventus to get anything out of that game, and 27% possession. I mean, I don't know the last time Juventus were that poor in keeping the ball.
Yes, and like you said, right? And then one of the reasons is because they were really playing deep, and it on paper was a 4-4-2, but definitely it wasn't on the pitch, especially in that second half, right? As in,
Yeah,
I could clearly
totally.
see that one of Bernardeschi and Chiesa actually moving and tucking into midfield, and Cuadrado kind of played a wing back at times. So they were
Right.
kind of matching Chelsea at times, playing a 3-5-2 or a 4-5-1, and that's something that probably worked in Juventus' favor because again, Chelsea, the lineup that we had, certainly, was we are not attacking enough. Like we had a lot of possession, but I think we didn't have runners behind the ball and behind your players. So or rather, Juventus players. Sorry about
Yeah,
that. No offense there. I know you're Inter Milan fan, but yeah, but that's how it goes, right? Sometimes you have to kind of as in just go with it, and we didn't kind of try enough or kind of work those long balls. I don't know. Lukaku in Italy has been known to play those long balls very well. Like he's someone who can really hold the ball and can get in other players, but again other players are not running enough. for him, and that's why probably the wing backs did not even try that, as in that's something that we missed for sure. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I know that the Chiesa got the goal, and Chiesa is a person that Chelsea has been after like for a couple of years now, not just the Euros performance, but even before. And knowing what his ability is, even more recently, giving him that chance before halftime was warning enough that he
Yeah.
missed and he did not pass it to
Yeah.
Bernardeschi. But
Yes.
then right after the break, again him getting that ball was something like of a suicide. Like for Chelsea, not to be alert. And again, I think fantastic pass, like I mentioned earlier in that reaction video by Bonucci. But I think it was Bernardeschi at the end of the day who also played a part. I don't know if Kulusevski, if he would have played, would have linked up that well. For me, they linked up really well, right? So that is somewhere that you would agree that Chelsea probably missed on, and then they had that lead, and I think the Italian way, we all know, the defense is something that they kept,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. I think Allegri, so many people have criticized him. I mean, there's been that whole subplot of Cristiano Ronaldo, and there's been a lot of heat on Allegri, but people are forgetting this is a tactical genius. Two Champions League finals in his last stint with Juventus. He's beaten some big clubs on this ground playing this way. I mean, he's beaten Barca, he's beaten all the big clubs that Juventus have played over those years. So, I mean, Real Madrid, Bayern, so I mean, wealth of experience. One point that I really sort of feel is that without N'Golo Conte, without Mason Mount, perhaps I would have expected, because Lukaku had played this way, perhaps I would have expected Werner to start, because Lukaku playing with his back against defenders like Chiellini, like Bonucci, like De Ligt, it always allowed Lautaro a lot of space in Italy in Conte's system. I don't know how Tuchel is implementing that system for Lukaku, but like you said, that the strength of Lukaku is playing with his back to the defenders and then letting the other striker sort of creating space for him. So I mean, why didn't Werner come on? I mean, that's something that I
Yeah, again, like you're putting out the question, but for me, the moment Werner has a confidence in scoring goals, I know he scored that midweek goal against Aston Villa, but he's still missing chances and he's not having that confidence. So for him to play 90 minutes was not expected. Because of that, I know he probably can play better than Lautaro role for me. Like that is his
absolutely,
ability,
absolutely,
but
yeah,
it's just the confidence and form that he's been going through the last few months. In fact, but even not to see him as a sub, like that was even more shocking.
yeah,
Like I'll be
yeah,
I don't want to kind of criticize too much on Almighty Blues FC. We are always positive and we believe Tuchel is the best, right? And again,
absolutely.
managers make
European
mistakes.
champion, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
he's made a mistake, but after that weekend game against Man City, right, where Werner, I know he had a so-so game, not really great, I would say, but again, he wasn't the worst on the pitch either. And like you said, like just trying that different
second
element is
half,
something that we needed.
yeah,
But on the other hand, we gave, I think, Juventus another big chance. I think early in the second half, again, it was Rabiot. I think Kovacic, giving a present to Rabiot, and Rabiot, again, did not pass it to Bernardeschi, and
pass
he,
it, yeah,
decided to shoot it. So as in, honestly, if you have to really ask me, a frank opinion is, Juventus deserved it, because they
yeah,
were lethal in whatever counter attacks that they were making, right? As in, they looked like scoring every time, and we did not look like scoring. In fact, Chesney, like, talk about stats, right? I think Juventus haven't kept a clean sheet. I think only two clean sheets they've kept in the last
absolutely.
23,
20,
and
23 games, yeah,
that's crazy, right? And Chesney is really out of form, and he's something what was Kepa last year, if you remember, right? That's how bad
absolutely.
he's been recently. So not taking shots on goal enough
Shots,
is a question mark. But we had so many attempts. We had, I think, about 16 attempts, and only
yeah,
one or two shots on target. Like I think in
on
the
target,
last two games put together, we've had only one or two on target. I know we've been great previous to that, but this was really surprising for me. I think again those 16 attempts was the highest by a Chelsea side in the Champions League away, when they have not scored. So I think something had to give, but unfortunately, it did not give for Chelsea, right? And that's something that I would say, I don't know. Like, would you say Chelsea were unlucky also, or Havertz and Lukaku probably should have scored, right? What is your opinion?
I think. Yeah, absolutely. I think that one Lukaku chance, it wasn't the easiest of chances, but I think he could have done better there. A draw would have been a fair result, but again, this was your toughest game, and it's Juventus, two times European champions. Such a successful club, and this is where they thrive. Like you saw Bonucci, for example, his leadership qualities last night again. So these are the kind of games where they thrive. So I mean, I don't think you should read too much into it as a Chelsea fan. Like it's an early season game. It's your toughest game away from home. You've controlled the game. I mean, Chelsea did control the game without Mason Mount, without N'Golo Conte in the team. So, I mean, I think lots of positives still to take. And I think you should be confident that you'll beat them at least at Stamford Bridge.
Yes, so I think great to hear that from Fateh because Fateh knows
Yeah.
his stuff, guys, and people watching. And then do comment below. As in, what do you think? Who is really to blame? Like I know we shouldn't play the blame games too early, like Fateh said, but was it like Ziyech, Kai Havertz not having that technical ability or just the zeal to go that extra
Yeah.
yard or try that extra pass? Or maybe the wing backs who did not, cross enough, or maybe the central midfield because they were just side passing and Kante not able to kind of go on high press early. That's something that would have changed the game early on. I don't know. That's just some of the points that we can all talk about. But yeah, then talk about positives, right? Again, it is after all the first time I think that Tuchel has lost two consecutive games. Firstly, and I think it's only the second time that we have lost away under Tuchel, right? As in that's
Yeah.
a big thing in itself, right? After Aston Villa the last day of last season. So again, while you can think that okay, we are probably on the downslide because of losing twice in 1 week, but it's the first time, and Tuchel, European champion himself, the team, we definitely have it, and hopefully when Mount comes back, Reece James, who wasn't there to cross
Reece
the
James.
balls,
Oh, yeah.
Pulisic, who can create much more, his runs are great. So a lot of players missing, so hopefully we'll do much better. But again, Fateh, what do you think? Like, you reckon we should beat them in Stamford Bridge and we should still top the group, or you reckon? I think Zenit got a great result by the way against Malmo, so yeah, we beat them very
Absolutely.
difficultly.
Yeah, I think Juventus did very well to start the group with that away victory. Now they've got two games against Zenit. Zenit are also a very experienced team in Europe, and in a way, I can see Allegri probably dropping points against Zenit because they'll be playing Inter Milan around the Zenit game too. So I mean, there are a lot of tough domestic games coming up. Allegri cannot really rest players because he has a lot of ground to make up. I think Napoli are 8 points ahead of Juventus right now in the league. So you could see him chopping and changing in the Champions League. So maybe they'll drop points there. I think both the teams last night, it was a good game. I enjoyed it. I think both the teams gave a very good account of themselves. I mean, look, I know that a lot of people don't rate Juventus, but I think they still have to be amongst those top 5 to 10 teams that you look at and say, maybe, they can win the Champions League, maybe with some signings in January, perhaps. So, I mean, I think they gave a very good account of themselves. That game is still far away. The Chelsea Juventus game, I think that's match day
Yeah, so I
five.
think yeah we are. So
Yeah,
that's I think a good thing that we have. We can probably take advantage, or if we
yeah,
drop points against Malmo, I think it's really panic time because I think two back-to-back games against Malmo. I think the fixtures kind of are in our favor, and
yeah,
the third and the
absolutely.
fourth games usually determine where the group is
Yeah.
going. So if we are able to get those 6 points, I think 9 points will be good enough for us, and of course we'll probably get a result against Zenit. I believe, like I really believe so.
And
So
I think,
yeah,
yeah. The only interesting thing about Malmo, Ankit, is their coach, Jondal Thomason. I don't know whether you know about him. A very legendary Feyenoord striker. He won the Champions League with AC
of
Milan,
course.
but he had a failed stint with Newcastle United when he played in England. And but very experienced coach. So I mean, very as a player, he's played a lot of Champions League games, a lot of European games. So I mean, that's an interesting name. But other than that, I don't think Malmo will be able to match up to the European champions.
Wow, interesting. So, but yes, Thomas, and obviously, like I've shared on previous streams, people watching must be knowing, like I do have soft corner for AC Milan. Again, telling it to an
Yeah.
Inter Milan fan here, but that's how it goes, right? But yes, a lot of drama there. Let's hope for the best. And thanks for all your inputs. Definitely, your knowledge of the Italian game has helped here a lot. A lot of negativity, going on Twitter, on Chelsea Twitter especially. So that's something that I really want to address, and hopefully I can see bright side also like you've seen as well, right? So Having said that, there has been other drama, so let me actually get in more guests. We have the front three podcast team here. So, Anvay, Krishna, welcome to the stream. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great, great. So, Anvay, we obviously for people watching Front Three Podcast, great channel, upcoming channel of that. Again, the links are below, and also Fateh's, social links are below. Uh, Anvay is a Liverpool fan. I hope I got that right, Anvay. And Krishna is a Manchester United fan. Again, I don't want to kind of offend them, but the fact is, as in they can probably take what it has, but they have Liverpool and Manchester United respectively, and kudos for them to actually support them. But yes, no pun intended. But having said that, again, Fateh, thanks a lot. I think this is about it, because we are going to discuss a lot more Premier League and of course the Premier League clubs in the Champions League. So feel free to come on, and I would love that you would come on later on as well. But definitely, people in the chat, people who are watching, definitely follow Fateh, great guy and knows his stuff. Thanks, Fateh.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, so coming to Anvay and Krishna from the Front Three podcast. So Anvay, quick question to you, right? As in, I'm sure like you must be really thrilled about the way Liverpool are attacking. Can you see deja vu happening from a couple of years ago? Is that really believable that it's still possible?
So, I mean, if you watch the last Porto game as well, so my only concern was, the absence of Trent, right? The creativity that we lost, because James Milner was filling in that particular role. But obviously, if you saw his passes and his crosses, he weren't the best. But again, we have Mohamed Salah, we have Sadio Mane, and of course, Curtis Jones is the youngster who stepped up this game. So I think Salah, he got only two shots and both were goals. So yeah, he's probably the most clinical finisher right now, and he's killing it in every format: the Premier League, the Champions League, and his stats are skyrocketing at the moment. And my only concern was Sadio Mane, because his form had like dropped a lot last season, and coming to this season as well, he was slowly coming back, and I'm pretty happy that he scored, even though it was a tap in. But yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Interesting, interesting. And talk about attacks, right? As in Krishna, as in Ole required Fergie time to basically avoid giving heart attacks to Man United fans. Like for sure, this is not sustainable, right, Krishna?
Definitely not. I mean, so it was like a vintage United performance of winning it and as a late comeback. But as you said, it's definitely not sustainable. However, we have been seeing it under Oli in the couple of few games that we've been winning matches, on individual performance, be it Lingard, be it Ronaldo. Last season there was Cavani and Bruno also. We're not winning matches as a cohesive team. It's more of individual performance and those last minute performances that you're talking about. It's definitely not sustainable.
Exactly. Exactly. And yes, as in going back to Liverpool, obviously, people who watch that, as in talking about, let's talk about Liverpool's group, right? As in because I think that's an interesting group in itself. But yeah, as in kudos to Mohamed Salah, right? As in Mo Salah has actually equaled Samuel Eto'o as I think the second highest African scorer in the Champions League. I don't know, Anway, like I know he's still far away, but do you see him breaking Drogba's record? And actually, like I think there's an African Cup of Nations, coming year. So do you think that being there has probably motivated him even more to do well in the remaining matches, whatever he can for Liverpool this year?
So I think that motivation would have definitely been there, to be the highest African scorer. But at the same time, if I'm Mohamed Salah and I'm playing for Liverpool, right? So the past season as well, the amount of burden, the amount of pressure that he had, he automatically stepped up, right? There was no one telling him that, okay, Mo, you have to score goals now. So that pressure, that burden, it automatically comes on himself, and that's when he plays well. So even the past couple of, I think for the past 6 games that Mohamed Salah has played in the Premier League, he scored in all 6 games, and this is currently the best start that he's had. And yeah, we've scored 14 goals so far, and we've been absolutely killing it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the start.
And absolutely killing it. Let's see, as in when Trent is bad and how you're able to defend, because yes, you miss him in attacks, but in defense, I think probably him not being there is a blessing in disguise. But again, just as a Chelsea fan and a Reece James fan, putting it out there. But I don't know, like again talking about the group, I know it was a great win. Kudos to Liverpool. Like we have to definitely give them all the plaudits, because winning against Porto, that too away, like the way they won, as in the 5-1 score. And I know, again, I think Taron in the previous stream did call that big 4-0 win, and the difference was 4 goals. So again, people in the chat were able to kind of watch the previous stream. Do check it out. We do get some predictions right as well on Almighty Blues FC. But definitely we have to speak about, I think, AC Milan, right? AC Milan is a club where, again, I know I have a soft spot and all that, but at the end of the day, there was some romanticism there, as in Champions League going back to San Siro for AC Milan, and them getting it down to 10 men kind of affected that result. And unfortunately, they couldn't hold on. Controversial for me. Like, for me, that wasn't definitely a red card. I don't know, Krishna, did you get a chance to watch that game?
Yeah, I did.
So what do you reckon? Like, was that a penalty for Atletico? Like, for sure, like it wasn't a clear handball, right? Was it?
No. I mean, it's all this stuff is very controversial. I don't want to be, the one to say if it is or not, but I'm gonna have to stick with the ref decision on this one.
Wow. No, I actually disagree very strongly. Like, I feel that, it wasn't very clear, and I was kind of surprised because it's a big decision. Again, in that group, Liverpool is there, and, Chelsea had that decision of Reece James was in Liverpool not very far back, right? For me, it was one of those because the red card decision, even if you are not 100% sure if the original decision was right or wrong, you kind of, overturn it and then go with it, because I think that changed the match because AC Milan were dominating. But yeah, as in, I don't know, people watching, do comment as what do you think now that AC Milan has lost their 2 games, both close ones at that, both big games. And then do you see Atletico qualifying, because they have done well in the Champions League in the recent years, and Liverpool, I think for Liverpool also, Atletico is a bogey team, right? Anway, if I'm not wrong, because that's something that I'm sure, like, you're not looking so forward to it in terms of the game, but you will be happy now that you're 1-2. I think Liverpool can top the group. What do you say?
So talking about Atletico, we have some bad memories, coming back to home games and losing to them. So I think right now we're currently 2 points clear, but we'll definitely top the table. But coming to the Atletico game, I'm a little concerned because this team we have that potential, we have that talent. Not doubting us or not underestimating anything that we have. But at the same time, you're seeing Suarez step up. You're seeing Griezmann come back to. Not come back to form. He's throwing his debut goal, like coming back. But yeah, man, it's going to be a scary one. But hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
Group of death, right? As in, at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen in the group of death. But yeah, interesting group that. But I can certainly see Liverpool qualifying as toppers. It's about who gets second, and hopefully AC Milan, for my sake and all those romantics out there who've been there in the 90s and 2000s, for them definitely AC Milan, has a soft spot for many, I'm sure, right? But moving on to another group, right, quickly, and that has to be Manchester United group. I know Krishna is wondering, as where is Man United in the talk? But yeah, as in, like I said earlier, it was Fergie time, and Ole needed Fergie time to, avoid the heart attack. But I just put a question here, Krishna. Like, I know I watched that game as well simultaneously. As in, was it David De Gea's antics in the goal that kind of spurred Man United on in the second half, or do you think that Telles' wonder strike was enough for them to kind of really spur them on, or simply Cristiano Ronaldo? Well, if you have to put one finger on, would it be David De Gea or Telles or Ronaldo?
So I don't want to underplay any of them, but I'm gonna have to say it was David De Gea. I mean, the man is finally back. It's been
Yeah.
more than a year that he hasn't found his form, and now the saying that David De Gea can save the Titanic. That is come back. He is looking unstoppable. After that penalty save he had versus West Ham, the confidence that he's got is just crazy, and it's not just the keeping. It's the leadership that you see now in him as well. He's when he gets the ball, he screams at the players. He's very lively on the pitch, and I think that just affects the whole team.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, again, as an opposition fan, I don't like the fact that he comes back to form and the confidence, because he was something else when he was at his prime, right? But again, talking about the group, like for Man United, it's certainly a great time, because a great night at that, because Atalanta getting 3 points and young boys not able to get even a point, so that's something that works in their favor, because I know young boys got the 3 points against Man United, but now it's kind of even. So it's like if Ole kind of plays to Man United's potential, and if the players play, of course, don't want to give it all on Ole, but definitely, as in Man United should be topping the group now. As in, I'll probably put that to Anway. Anway, what do you think as an outsider? Do you see Man United being able to get that consistency in the remaining matches, or they'll just flatter to deceive again?
So I think that'll just depend on the upcoming Premier League game and the international break as well. So let's see what happens then. But as of now, I mean, I think I wouldn't say Ole is really doing anything, but this magical time from Cristiano Ronaldo and David Villa, and of course that lovely goal from Alex Telles. So that's slowly helping Ole. But of course, I mean, I think they'll top the table, man. Can't be too hard for Man United.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, people watching, do tell me as in what would be the finished kind of standing in the group. For me, it'll probably be Atalanta second, but again, I may be wrong. Just a prediction out there. Moving on from this group to one of the groups which also had a lot of drama, right? And quickly, again, we have to mention like those performances that we saw, especially Benfica. Benfica was something else, like, or it was Barca playing bad. You can say one of the two. PK probably would have been sent off anyway if he had not been subbed. As in great performance, and of course, congratulations to Benfica for the win. I don't know if they'll get that European glory again. I know there's a curse on them and all that, but for now, I think they look great, at least in that group. Of course, apart from Bayern Munich, but I think for Benfica, I think they've been unbeaten in the last 8 European ties. So that is something that to look out for. Like even for base like Bayern Munich, they have not been beaten at their home. And Barcelona, on the other hand, I think it is the first time that they have gone 5 consecutive UCL matches without a victory. I think in the last 20-24 years, till from the time Champions League has really started. So definitely for me, Barcelona are not looking good, and Koeman needs to go, and that's just Almighty Blues FC's recommendation. Again, being a Dutch fan, I would not like that, but that's reality. I don't think Depay is also working much as he has the potential, or he could be. They're not playing to his strengths, so that's something that we would like to call. Again, people watching, do call out that, but I'll come to you guys on the other one because this was a big match of this match day. Like we have to agree on that. Again, being a rival, all three of us will not like it, but Man City's game against PSG, right? As in PSG again, they've bought a lot of players. Things weren't clicking, but it clicked in this game. For me, again, watching as a neutral, I thought that Bernardo Silva chance, if he had taken that, things would have been much different. But again, ifs and buts, we can talk about that. But Anway, like, would you say it was basically PSG's defense, midfield, as well as goalkeeper, right? As in Donnarumma's debut in Champions League for PSG. So that's something that requires us to even kind of give plaudits, or was it just Man City missing chances?
So I think more than talking about PSG as a team, I would like to point out how Pochettino was able to adapt to Manchester City's tactics. So if you saw the way how Manchester City played, right, when they opened up on the wings, and that's when they were closing down on PSG, right? So they were 3 up, and De Bruyne was right behind them. So that's when, that's when Pochettino got Neymar in the center, and he kept Messi and Mbappe on the wing. So that created sort of a trouble, especially in the right flank when he saw Hakimi completely dominating it, and with his pace, he's completely unstoppable. So big up to Pochettino, and I think as a team they played extremely well.
Interesting. Like Pochettino getting praises, not happened much, but yeah, then let's give him, where he deserves against Man City, especially in inform Man City. But Krishna, quick call there. Like I'll probably ask you for group prediction. As in, I know Leipzig, not having a great time either. Club Brugge looking great. Do you see Man City, still topping the group, or do you see PSG, taking that, and probably Club Brugge surprising? What's your call?
I'm gonna have to say Man City. It might be the Premier League bias, but again, looking at the PSG game, it exactly showed us why they needed Harry Kane, why they needed that
Yeah.
out and out striker. I think you had Sterling playing that striker, and it just was not effective. So maybe if they can work their way around that, then I'd say they top the table.
Interesting. Yeah, certainly. Like in the other group, I think Bayern is going to top. And everyone knows that. That's why we didn't discuss. But in this group, I agree. Like probably Man City is the team to beat, irrespective of the result. What I know we just saw. But yes, a lot of Champions League chat there. I think that's something done. So let's look ahead. What do you say, guys?
Let's go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's move ahead.
Okay, so talk about history, right? As in historically, as in there's no secret. Like, Chelsea is the dominant team against Southampton, and that's something that anyone could guess, right? But very interestingly, like you saw in that quick clip, right? As in the last time Chelsea beat Southampton was October 2019. Yes, it's going to be 2 years next week, and that's what you're talking about. And that's crazy stat, right, in itself. So we cannot take Southampton lightly at all because somehow I think Southampton has been a bogey team. Yes, we did get a couple of draws, and one of them very high scoring one at that, if you remember, where Werner was in form for a change. But yes, hopefully he comes back in form and is deployed. But I think Southampton definitely are draw merchants. Like I have to say that they are like Villarreal. We spoke about in Champions League. Southampton in the Premier League, they are draw merchants, drawing a lot of games. They either draw the games or lose 9-0. Right? One of those teams who just as in you can see extremes there. But I think more recently, but yes, they've lost against Wolves. So maybe that's something that will spur them on. I don't know. For me, they have been obviously winless in the Premier League, so that tells me that Chelsea should get over the line for sure. And talking about draws, right? I know they've not won yet, but they drew against Man United. So I have to get in Krishna. So Krishna, as a Man United fan, watching Southampton draw that, I know it was again a bit controversial, one of the goals there, but I actually went with the referee for a change there. But just as a Man United fan, and of course, watching Southampton draw also against your city rivals, Manchester City, you know, what is your report saying? Just share your thoughts about Southampton.
I mean, yeah, initially I was a bit disheartened, but after seeing that City also, drew to them, it kind of, but made the wound hurt less. But looking at specifically our match, I don't think Southampton played or does play extremely well. Their performance goes very up and down. It's again more. It was more onto us and Ollie's tactics. But if I could pin it on maybe one or two players from Southampton who are performing well, one is Livramento at right back, and the other is Sissalisu. He's a centre back. I think both are
Yeah,
ex
yeah.
Chelsea players. You should know about them.
Yes, Livramento is
And
someone that there's a lot of controversy about because I think we do have a buyback, and the idea is for us to buy him back after 2 years when he kind of builds up and definitely gets that experience. But certainly all Chelsea players, even today on Twitter, to be honest, we can see only Livramento all around. So he's fantastic, and him making Kyle Walker Peters, actually being played as a left back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually quickly share. Of course, we're going to speak about Chelsea team, and that's what we are here for. But let me actually, now that we are speaking that, I'll just put up the Southampton team, which I expect to play this game. So here you go. Right. So, like you said, right again, like right back is empty because the website I was using does not have Livramento. That's how quickly he has, risen up just as a footballer, right? But yes, certainly, I think you put it right. Salisu is a person. So they have a great defense. They draw a lot of games. That's something that we need to be wary about as a Chelsea team. Again, in this team, I can see on left wing. Probably Redmond starting. I know he's done well against Chelsea in the past. We saw in the clip again. But reports say that probably Redmond will not play the game because of the his underperforming, against Wolves. And yeah, and them playing a 4-4-2 on paper again. I don't want to speak about what happened day before yesterday about Juventus Chelsea, but that's how it can be again because Armstrong is someone I know he's had I think most number of shots on target I think for a Southampton player, but for sure he can play left wing as well, so he might as well tuck in and Shea Adams is a great person on counter attack. So I can see that happening. But like I said, like we haven't really lost consecutively. I think it'll be the first time that we'll be losing thrice consecutively under Tuchel, and it's at home after all. So I expect us to do really well. Let me also try and share my screen because I want to also share the Chelsea 11 for this that I'm expecting, and I'll get the guys' views here. But again, as an opposition view, Anway, this is what I'm going with against Southampton. Just talking about injuries, like for Chelsea, firstly, we have obviously Reece James out, I think, for a good while. Pulisic is not 100% fit from the last press conference that we heard. Mason Mount, should be back. Sorry, I've actually put the wrong one. Sorry about that. I think probably I'll go with this one. Yes, this is the 11 that I'm expecting. I don't know. People watching, do comment below, but I'll get guys' thoughts. But yeah, talking about the injuries again, I think Kante is someone who's definitely isolating still. Hopefully he recovers well, and Chilwell to come back as a start. I know he came in the second half against Juventus. He looked better than Alonso. Put it that way. Ziyech, I know a lot of criticism for him. I don't think he deserves that much criticism because after all, he's at least coming after an injury. And compared to Havertz, I think he's slightly better in terms of trying. He'll stay. Mount hopefully will come back. He's been selected for England, surprisingly, for the international break. So that's interesting. But Loftus-Cheek needs to come back. He needs to start. He's been absolutely fantastic. Anway, what are your thoughts on this team? Like, you think this team should be good enough? Hudson-Odoi works at wing back for you or no, as an opposition fan?
So I think Hudson-Odoi works very well, but I'm extremely happy to see Ziyech here because if you saw his preseason performance as well, right, he was on fire. But unfortunately, he had an injury. But yeah, man, I hope he gets back in form because he can be an absolutely lethal attacker, and that's something that Southampton need to be careful about. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we spoke about so much about Champions League, right? As in Champions League, we lost and we hadn't lost last year at all, right away. So for me, that juju's over. So hopefully, we have to go all out attack and just, look at winning, especially at home. And, that's what I'm going for. Again, I don't know what, you all think, but certainly I see a close game because of Southampton's, just the defensive capability. And we spoke about the players that we did. Again, talking about some players about Southampton who might be missing. I think Walcott is not probably 100% fit. I don't know if he's going to be fit by the time the match kicks off. And I think Stuart Armstrong also is in the same boat. Of course, the Chelsea loanee Armando Broja is not eligible, so he'll not be playing. He anyway wouldn't have started, but he probably would have come on otherwise, right? And Jack Stephens is someone that they'll miss at the back because he has been great for Southampton. But certainly, as in James Ward-Prowse, that's someone that I think his great in set pieces, so something that we'll have to be careful about. But spoke a lot about Southampton, Chelsea there. People in the chat also get in the predictions because we are moving to the prediction stage here. What do you think? I'll probably come to Krishna. Firstly, we'll start with this game itself. Chelsea, Southampton. What is your scoreline prediction?
It's a 2-0 win to Chelsea. I think Lukaku is going to score a brace. Might be a bias because he is going to be my FPL captain for the weekend also.
Absolutely, and that's a great choice. I'll tell you. So Lukaku is actually, like, for him, he's had, I think, the best stat against Southampton among all the clubs, right? So I think he scored about 9 goals. Also, I think he scored a lot against West Ham and Villa, but I think Southampton is the highest. So that's something that he'll have in the back of his mind. He's done well over the years against Southampton. But on the other hand, like, before Anway gets to his prediction, I would like to say Southampton, I think, have got the highest number of points away at Chelsea, as in other than just 2 other away games, away sides. I think that's probably the third that they've secured the most points away at Stamford Bridge. So something's got to give, right? As in, Anway, what's your call? I don't want to be jinxing it, but yeah, just asking your predictions.
So like Krishna said, I think Lukaku will be a threat, but at the same time, when you spoke about Ward-Prowse being on set pieces, I hate to take it from Trent, but I think Ward-Prowse is the best set piece taker in the Premier League. If you look at his last season stats as well, so I think Chelsea might concede 1, but I think it should be a 2-1 win to Chelsea.
Interesting. Like, I'll take that. That's what I'll say. Like, as in, again, I would like to predict as well. I can actually, echo what Anvay just said, a 2-1 win to Chelsea because, yes, we are conceding more lately. So that's something that, again, it's a negative momentum. But at the same time, we need to play more attack minded players and just, being in that mindset. And hopefully those two losses, must have taught us a lesson. And the race is on. At the end of the day, we are not far behind. I think, again, Anvay and Krishna would agree that I know technically Liverpool is on top, but it's still very early days and still very close, right? We cannot really say. And these 1 or 2 points that you drop, at Southampton, that Man United dropped, Man City dropped, is something that Chelsea can probably take advantage of, and prove that we can probably as in beat the so-called mid-table or lower side teams. But it'll be an interesting game for sure. But talking about the next prediction, we'll probably go to the big game now, as in definitely, as in Anway, Liverpool are playing Man City. For Man City, as in, would you say that Liverpool is a bogey team almost? Like, because Liverpool have had that number, right? As in, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest advantage for a team like us is the fact that it's a home game. When there is a big game for Liverpool, you've seen the European nights at Anfield. You know the atmosphere. You know that complete vibe that you get, that electric atmosphere. It'll kill the Manchester United play. I mean, Manchester City players. They all fear that. But and if you saw the AC Milan game as well, we were living on that fans cheering. We were living on all of that. So I think that's the biggest advantage. But at the same time, if you saw Manchester City playing against PSG, I think Bernardo Silva and Rodri were two extremely good players. So we need to have a look at that. But if you also look at Manchester City, like Krishna mentioned earlier, they don't have that number 9, right? They don't have that Harry Kane player.
Yep.
So I think Matip and Van Dijk, if they do start as a centre back for Liverpool, so I don't think there'll be too much of a trouble for them, because Ivan Toney, against when we played Brentford, he was absolutely killer on the aerial duels. He was winning almost each ball. So yeah, man, I think that'll be one relief for us. But yeah, let's see how it goes.
Well, good call there, but Klopp will certainly study, how Man City beat Chelsea, right? As in, that was a great pressing game. Like, Man City almost played the Liverpool game, if I may say so. So for me, I don't know. Like, Anway, like, do you see Klopp changing the tactics? Because if Man City goes for that early press, probably, I mean, something's got to give, and Liverpool has to play some, other way, right? Do you see something
Definitely.
changing?
So I think there'll either be two main situations in the game. So first will be if City score the first goal, and if City score the first goal, then we know Anfield's going to be absolutely dead, pin drop silence. The players will be absolutely dead. But if we go out and score the first goal, like it's happened in the previous quarterfinals as well when we beat them 4-3. If we do that, then I think the fans will go absolutely crazy, and that's when we'll slowly pick up our pace and pick up the game. But I think as of now, what Jurgen Klopp needs to do is, if you've seen the past couple of games of Manchester City, I think Diaz and Laporte both aren't able to cope with the pace and with the runs that like a fullback or a winger make from behind. And we've seen Mohamed Salah's pace, we've seen Sadio Mane's pace, so I think that can definitely be a big con for them.
Interesting. Yeah, then certainly, like, tactics is something we can talk about. But in terms of prediction, as in, what's your final prediction, and where what do you go for?
So I would love to say it's a Liverpool win, but I think it'll end up being a pretty boring 1-0 win, 1-0 draw.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. As an Anway, probably you're reading my mind. I don't know. I had written it down. Like, 1-1 is what I've written it down, because I think Man City beating Chelsea, losing to PSG, probably will play a safer game this time, because they kind of want to get to the good end come the international break, and then probably start afresh again, which Man City can. But some people say that Man City are going on a run in the Premier League again, like last season. But again, every day is not a Sunday, right? Krishna, come on. Surely you're going for a Man City loss.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go for the City loss. It is going to be quite a tactical game, both managers knowing their potential. But I have to say Liverpool win it 2-1. Mo Salah being the man.
Wow. Ex-Chelsea man, that's what I can say. Again, not really proud of letting him go. Yet again, I say it all the time. But moving on, I think to another game. Of course, Krishna is waiting for the Man United talk as well, because Man United are playing Everton. It is an early kickoff from what I remember this Saturday. So that will be in itself, an environment that you love, an atmosphere that will be created at Old Trafford, especially after that last minute winner that you got, so-called Fergie time. But anyway, uh, it is Everton, Krishna. Over the years, if I remember right, if my memory serves right, as in Man United have had an easy one against Everton at home, right? As in, that's something that at home they've done well. So obviously, I'm seeing that to continue. But I think the talk of the town is basically the midfield of Man United. It keeps changing. As in, Matic out of all the people is basically the savior in games. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
this guy is what 37. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. But Krishna, what do you think will be the midfield for this game?
The midfield, so I'll put it out there. I don't want to see Fred start or McTominay start, but because they're just not effective. Oli had a very unhealthy obsession with them and kept starting them. It honestly started to hurt me after a point. But I'd love to see Matic, of course, start. I'm not sure he'll be able to sustain the full 90 minutes considering his age. But even Donny, I think this is a perfect time for him to start because
Wow.
he's a very like quick player. That one touch passing, he lets the ball progress fast.
Interesting,
And
interesting.
yeah, I think those two will be a new experiment, of course, but I think we should go for that.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, it's Benitez is Everton, like very different to what it was under Ancelotti. Surprisingly, Benitez is also letting them play their football. So it's interesting that you pick, Donny there because for me, definitely, as in again talking about age, that was just a pun. Like obviously, Matic is he's playing well, right? He's back to kind of playing what
Yeah.
he used to. But yeah, surviving 90 minutes is a question mark against Everton. Again, Benitez, who's well structured in his teams as well, along with attack. So I can certainly see goals in this one. I don't know, like for me, I have actually called it a high scoring game, and I can see Man United. And for me, again, Varane hasn't been his kind of best yet. I don't know whether he has it yet in the Premier League. Again, I hope he doesn't, but I think he will eventually, right? So I am actually calling it like a 3-2 Man United win. What's your prediction?
I haven't really thought. I'd probably say it's. I'd go with your prediction as well.
Wow.
Of course, in high scoring games, it tends to be more of a team performance. It's not really a one man performance that we see, and I hope that's something that we can produce on Saturday.
Interesting. Yes. Again, like would love it if they drop points. Everton again, they are among the top of the table as well. So they will be motivated for this one to kind of do well, especially kind of prove a point at Old Trafford, early kickoff and all that. But coming to you, Anway, what's your prediction?
Like you said, 3-2 seemed like a nice prediction because Luke Shaw and Maguire both are out. So,
Yes.
and if you've seen the way Alex has played, I was actually pretty impressed. So, I mean, I think United will concede, but I'm not too sure about how many because Demarai Gray is playing exceptionally. But at the same time, Calvert Lewin is out with an injury, with a muscle injury. So, I think my final prediction will be 3-all.
Oh wow, we would love that, right? As a Liverpool fan, I'm sure Anway will love that as well. But certainly he knows his stuff, as does Krishna. So I think again for FPL managers out there, you just got some team news there. Make your substitutions fast right now as we speak. Lot of news and lot of predictions done, but I think we'll have to speak about little smaller teams as well. Don't want to offend them, but let's talk about the London rival, so-called rivals that we have, Spurs. Spurs, I think, are playing, if I'm not wrong, Villa. Villa are on a good run of form. Great away win that they got in Manchester United finally. And Spurs, well, they're just doing a Spurs yet again, and it's Nuno managing them. Uh, do you see Kane coming back? I don't know, Krishna. What's your call here? What's your prediction? As in, do you see this one going to Spurs' favor or Villa?
Especially after that loss last time to Villa, I kind of want to see them lose. And at the same time, I want to see Harry Kane perform. It's been very, very long, and I'm kind of like hungry to see that again. So I think that Son and Kane link up will show again, and I think it won't be high scoring. I'd say it's 1-0 win to Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay, one. I think that's pretty fair because the way Nuno plays as well, right? And Villa
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
score, as in haven't scored much. Strangely, they have the players, but they haven't scored much. So Anway, what's your prediction for that one?
So even I'll go with a 1-0. I'm hoping for that same the Jose Mourinho Son link up with Harry Kane. So yeah, man,
Wow.
let's hope something happens.
I actually see an easy Spurs win here. So I actually see 2-0 here. But yes, all of us going for Spurs. Might as well get the other results. Like I won't mind if we get the prediction wrong, but yes, coming to the other team from London, they have been doing great. Of course, they beat Spurs hands down. They are getting the momentum right, as in, of course, the youngsters as well. A great performance by Emil Smith Rowe, like someone that I am really impressed by. As in, when he played against us, also he was good compared to others. But anyway, Arsenal, I think, if I'm not wrong, they're playing Brighton away, and Brighton, I think, Brighton are top 16 now. Come on, like Arsenal are mid-table side, talk about as in this is basically the new era. Anway, what's your prediction for this one?
So if I'm being completely honest, for the past couple of seasons, we've seen that the Premier League can be completely unpredictable. So anything can really happen. So honestly, I don't know what to go with, but I'm hoping Arsenal win because I want Arteta to get that momentum back because Arsenal do have a good team. So yeah, I think it'll be an Arsenal 2-0 win to Arsenal.
Okay, that's an away win if I'm not wrong. And what about you, Krishna?
I'm gonna have to go Arsenal too. It's a very crucial stage for them. They've just beat Tottenham. They'll be on their high horse. It all depends on how they have to sustain that kind of performance, that kind of attitude. I mean, I'm sure you'd have seen all their celebrations. So they
Yeah,
would be very pumped, very happy. Even Ben White playing against his ex club um, should maybe see some kind of rivalry there. But
interesting.
I'd say it's 2-1 to Arsenal because I think Arsenal will concede.
Yeah, as in talk about celebration, I think Brighton again got the last minute winner recently, right? So for me, again, they will be on high as well, and this is something that they're not used to, so they'll try to stay there as much as possible. They'll give it all, knowing that Arsenal, can be beaten as well. So I'm probably going for a high scoring one. This one again, like I'm looking at it as a 2-all draw, but again, like a Chelsea fan, just predicting out there, pretty obvious, right? As in, so anyone could guess that. But yes, fantastic chat, guys. Krishna, Anway from Front Street Podcast. A lot of other matches also happening, but people watching, do comment below with your predictions. We will collate that, like I've been saying, and have a prediction league soon. After the international break. But thanks, Krishna. Thanks, Anway, and of course Fateh, who had joined us as well. For people who do not watch, please go back to the sections. Yes, in case you don't want to kind of watch every section because we've got a lot of this in the stream. There will be timestamps and of course video chapters out, so definitely you can go over them, and we'll be releasing a lot more videos, and with Krishna and Anway hopefully back. So Anway, firstly, thanks for coming on. Any last thoughts? Feel free to plug your channel as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was great coming here. Had a great chat with both of you, and it was great hearing you talk.
Absolutely. And again, like people, please follow the description because it's just a press of a button. YouTube link is there. Front Three Podcast, great upcoming podcast for me. I would highly recommend. And certainly, smash the like as well as subscribe to us as well. But over to Krishna as well. Krishna, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, had a great chat. Of course, haven't been talking to Smen that much with regards to Chelsea, so the nice change of things.
Of course, yeah, and I think of course the front three podcast was may kind of missed it, but hopefully he comes on next time, and we have a lot more Chelsea chat as well. But I loved it personally, and would love to have you on again. Again, people watching, do share the stream because the more people watch it, the more discussion we'll have the next time we go live, so that they subscribe as well. And till then, take care, everyone, and just peace out. Almighty Blues will be back, right?